Big exciting great news this afternoon as Nancy Pelosi tells Broadcast News that a second stimulus deal is imminent? Excuse me? What? That's about as rational as me talking to a cow at a casino. Is she just pulling our leg or our udder? What are you talking about? Immediately, viewers reacted by wondering if she's playing hide and cow seek, or whether this is the truth, and it's because the Purple Power has pushed this to the finish line. Hey, good afternoon. This is LALATE in a really shocking, major twist of turns of events that I did not even see, let alone wonder at a night after visiting the casino. This is insanely bizarre, but perhaps great news in the second stimulus package developments this afternoon. This is LALATE Afternoons. It starts every day with a check at 3:30. 30 minutes after this, I'll have a big update about hazard pay. Got to tune in for that. That's at $10,000 you could get if you worked as a frontline worker, and renewed optimism is about that this afternoon. 30 minutes after that is unemployment, and I'll be going over a lot of big details. So if you have questions about your unemployment, tune in for that. Finally, 30 minutes after that is rent. Oh, also, go to the front of this channel and subscribe. Almost forgot to mention that. Go to the front of this channel, subscribe, because this is the best community there is out there. We're approaching 272,000 followers. We're trying to reach to 280,000 in 2 weeks, so let's get to it. This is the best community out there to get you to the finish line. Also, like this video because it's going to be the best video you're going to hear today on stimulus. Boy, strange developments this afternoon about stimulus negotiations amid the push by the Purple Power to get the Problem Solvers bill to a vote and to the finish line. I'll be covering a lot of details in this video this afternoon. First, I'll be going over those remarks. Shocking remarks. Do we believe them to be true? Or what is going on? Second, I will go over comments that were made by Andrew Yang that says, this is silliness, get the deal done. Third, I will be going over new economic reports that were issued minutes ago that says a second stimulus deal has to be done right away. Finally, I will be getting to some of your 1,700 incredible questions. But first, this. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news this afternoon is we remain on script and focus. That is the Problem Solvers bill. The Problem Solvers bill is the bill to get us to the finish line. It remains the focus of this channel and will not change from the focus of this channel until we get to the finish line. The reason is multiple grounds. First, it's bipartisan. Everything we've seen to this point has been partisan. Second, the amount is exactly where it needs to get done. 1.5. Now we can go to 2. More about that in a second, but we can't be at 2.4. That's what's going to be introduced on Monday, and it's going to be summarily rejected. More about that in a second as well. 3, we love the provisions of the Problem Solvers bill, and it needs a few revisions, but other than that, it works categorically perfect. These are what you would see in a Problem Solvers bill, and with a deadline. More about that in a minute as well. The Problem Solvers bill is a bipartisan bill, written by Democrats and Republicans, introduced for the purpose of getting this done. $1.5 trillion price tag. President supports it. President said he'll sign it. President has to sign the bill because ultimately any bill that's passed by House of Congress and Senate has to be signed by the president. He said he'll sign it. It calls for a stimulus check, not 1, but 2. The first one would come now. The second one would come in March. How soon would you get the first check? Well, Steve Mnuchin has always represented it can come to you within 10 days after becoming law. So if it becomes a law on October 1st, you could get it on October 12th approximately, if that's a Monday. If you're set up for electronic means, whether you do electronic payments with the IRS or you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits and get your payments by electronic means. This is incredibly great news as millions of Americans need the stimulus check right now. The part that needs to be revised under the bill is the amount. Dependents at $500 is not going to cut it. It needs to be a dependence at $1,200. The remainder is $1,200. Adults, $1,200. Single individuals, $1,200. Married couples, $2,400. This would give everyone $1,200. Family of 5 is the additional provision that needs to be explained. It doesn't say very clearly in the bill how many people would get a stimulus check per household. Now, ultimately, not everyone in a household can get a stimulus check, but this would likely go to 5 persons. So 5 times $1,200, $6,000. Incredibly great news across the board. Would not be taken out for child support, would not be taken out for collections, would not be taken out for past due taxes. All incredibly great news. The other provision that is certainly, or the other two, they're certainly very big ticket items for this channel and very big concern are unemployment benefits and hazard pay. Unemployment benefits coming up 1 hour from now would cover $600 for 3 weeks after 5 weeks after 8 weeks of $450. So all great news, but it would have to be retroactive. It doesn't call for retroactive in the bill. And finally, hazard pay, not in there, needs to be added. I'm proposing the Romney plan. So all that is categorically great. And what we have done since Friday has been absolutely categorically incredible. You should be so proud of yourself. We're almost to the finish line. It's a spirit of positive focusing. What I've always talked about on this channel is doing what we need to do to get to the finish line. You do your focus. You don't do someone else's truck. You don't drive someone else's truck. You drive your truck. And what we've been doing is driving our truck and saying, this is what we need to get to the finish line. Now, we are not naive. We're not rose-colored glasses. So we see things coming around the corner. And one of the things coming around the corner is that horrific $2.4 trillion bill from Nancy Pelosi. Summarily rejected. And it's coming on Monday. So what we have been doing since Friday has been on social media, specifically Twitter and of course Facebook, saying reject 2.4. Any Democrat that supports 2.4, any House representative that supports 2.4, we're voting you out. Because ultimately 2.4 will die. It will die as a bill. It can be passed in the House of Representatives because it's a Democratic-led House, but it's going to die a quick death shortly thereafter because no one will support 2.4. It's exactly the number that has been summarily rejected by everyone but them since July. Why would we suddenly switch and agree to 2.4 today? Because why? There's no reason to. So there's absolutely categorically no reason to accept what's coming on around the horizon. Now, let's turn to those comments and what's going on. So Nancy Pelosi started the day early, appearing on CNN's State of the Union, was asked about stimulus and said, I trust Steve Mnuchin to represent something that can reach a solution, and I believe we will come to an agreement. Okay. Wow. I'd rather have a deal that puts money in people's pockets than to have a rhetorical argument. What we want to be putting forth is a proffer to say, now let's negotiate within a time frame and a dollar amount and get the job done. Who is this person? This doesn't sound like Nancy Pelosi. The public is going to have to see why 2.2 or now 2.4 perhaps is necessary. Okay, it was all good up until then. Steve Mnuchin, of course, on Thursday said to the Senate Banking Committee, I probably have spoken to Nancy 15 to 20 times in the last few days on COVID relief, and we agreed to continue negotiations about the CARES Act. As detailed on Morning's LALATE earlier today, I reported that one series of interviews says that Mnuchin used a verb tense that suggests he has been negotiating with Pelosi for upwards of about a week, but has not told the public publicly that he has. It's sort of the usual verb tense. It sounded as though he had been negotiating. So what do we make of this? This is my position. And you can certainly do something other than me, but this is my position. My position is, 2.4 is going to come Monday. We know it's 2.4. We're not at 2.4. We're never going to be at 2.4. We're at 1.5, the problem solver's bill. We're supporting the Problem Solvers bill. We're supporting the Blue Dogs. We're supporting the new Democratic coalition 1.5. Now, we clearly understand what it takes to make the deal. 1.5 to 2.0 has always been the realm in which to make the deal. I've been reporting since June that the president would do a deal at 1.5 to 2. I've been saying that for months, and it's unchanged. These comments here by Pelosi suggest, perhaps, not very clear, but perhaps, she's willing to get off of 2.4 and 2.2 and settle at 2.0. Ultimately, anything that makes Pelosi uncomfortable with her number of 2.4 and realize that 2.4 is not something that's going to pass and drops to 2.0 and gets it done is a deal. Ultimately, the pressure appears to be working. That is my opinion of the situation, that the Purple Power pressure is working, that she understands that 2.4 is not going to work, but she's going to debut as 2.4 to look hard and strong. Mnuchin is certainly not going to do 2.4. He said it for months. It's going to push, and that maybe all of this will come to a fruition and we'll settle at 2. That appears to be the likelihood at the moment based upon her comments. But our focus is unchanged. We're staying at 1.5. We're saying 2.4 is unacceptable. Reject 2.4. And ultimately, she may understand that, and members of her party may understand that, as we say we're going to vote you out if you try to do 2.4. So Andrew Yang, the former presidential candidate, came out overnight and said, this is a silliness. Just get this done. Quote, people are hurting. He said the only reason that this has not been passed is politics. America deserves better from our leaders. Pass a bill. People are hurting, and time is not on our side. People ask me why there's been no additional stimulus or relief from Congress. The one-word answer is politics. Next, another big development today, this afternoon, is portfolio manager Dan Niles from Satori Fund founder spoke to Broadcast News about stimulus, and he thinks that if Congress were to pass another stimulus package, it could really help everyone right away. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. So I think, you can make a real good case that the market should be down a lot from here, but I mean, there's a good sense of optimism, a flat year, and if we get a nice Phase 5 stimulus package, you could very easily see a 5-foot jump. What I detailed on Mornings LA, which was very important, was that the oil and gas industry believes that the stimulus package is going to be done at the 11th hour, and that the trading activity currently, as we started into the weekend, we go into Monday, suggests that they think that the stimulus package is going to reach an agreement. Incredibly positive, great news across the board. Now, as we sit here this afternoon, that October 1st deadline is still working on our behalf. And some people were a little confused about it again. So let me explain to you what's going on. They thought that I had made it a little bit more confusing, so I apologize if I did. The airlines are still working in our favor. Now, fully understand that the airlines are not on the Problem Solvers bill, obviously, because the airlines did not manifest an issue until after the Problem Solvers bill was introduced. But we have all said that the Problem Solvers bill needs additions to it, revisions. Republicans and Democrats universally agree that the airlines need to be in the stimulus package. That's item number 1. 2, no one wants a standalone bill for the airlines, except those two crazy congressmen, senators, Collins and Wickers. They did a standalone bill. It got summarily rejected. I think it's just out of the casino right now, so it's nowhere to be seen. So what the Temple of Doom is doing for Monday is she's putting the airlines in her new bill, Temple of Doom 2.0, landing on Monday. She's putting the airlines in there. Everyone says the airlines should need to be in there. Everyone says the airlines need the relief. Everyone says it has to be done by October 1st. This is all categorically great, and Steve Mnuchin certainly wants to give the money to the airlines as well. This is categorically great for us because it pushes us to a deadline for everything to be gotten. People are confused by that. Let me explain. They're like, why is the airlines going before us? Why? No, they're not going before you. Why are they such an important concern? Because it's something that's more tangible for these very pig-headed people to understand, cow-headed. And so now that the fact that there's a deadline for a major part of the U.S. economy of October 1st in a package, everything else in the package is getting that deadline. So potentially hazard pay, rent, food, stimulus checks, enhanced unemployment benefits. Everything suddenly has an October 1st deadline. I mean, it's sort of ridiculous for me to even say it because, unemployment benefits had a deadline in July when it expired, and that was sort of ignored by, everyone in Congress. And now suddenly it's a deadline of October 1st. Well, there's also the deadline of there's a fall election. And there's a fall election. They are to leave and go home shortly, and this is really the last deadline for them to ignore. And if you ignore this one will be very clear that you ignored the deadline. Let me get to some of your 1,700 questions from yesterday. And I want to start with this question, which I got on Facebook, which, I don't usually pull Facebook questions, but I liked it because it's so important to what's going on today. Dora Lee Ann Clements asked, "Thank you so much for all you do. Purple Power rules. Bless you. Why haven't we run out of time? Because don't they go on vacation next week? Will there truly be any help for all the American people? Honestly, are they there, or does it depend on the president doing executive orders today?" Okay, a lot of great questions in there. Let me go over that. First, it only takes 3 days for something to become a law. So we have enough time. It takes 1 day for the Senate to vote and approve it, 1 day for the House to vote and approve it, and 1 day for the president to sign it. So you only need 3 days for it to get done. That's the first thing. Second, I've been reporting for over a week. This was the first channel to report it. This is the first first news channel to ever report any of this sort, that the deadline would be the following. The Senate would approve it on the 30th. The House would approve it on the 31st. 30 days, House September. No, there's 30 days. I'm doing Larry Keller math. The Senate would approve it on the 29th, the House would approve it on the 30th, and the president would sign it October 1st. That is our deadline. So there is enough time. Are they going on vacation? Yes. Are they going on vacation before October 1st? Well, there are vacations around then, and we've heard mixed signals. Nancy Pelosi said we're not going home until we get this deal done. Okay. That prompted a nice letter written to her last Thursday. It said, "You know what? You apparently are going home. We're not going home." So it's really unclear what happened. That apparently she said everyone's not going home, but then the people in her own house said, "Apparently you're going home, so we're not going home." So there's this whole thing of, are you going? So apparently everyone's now really under the gun of saying, don't leave until we get this done. But we've been lied to about this before. It was only a few weeks ago where people were not supposed to leave, that Nancy and Mitch had an agreement not to leave town, and they left town. So great question from Dora. Pat Vanderbrand, "We ought to take Nancy's paycheck." Amen. Roger, "If they don't get a stimulus check done, they're going to go home and run for re-election while blaming the other guy for not getting your stimulus check. They're all guilty of not getting it for us. Vote them out now." Amen. Rachel Craig, "On Sunday, the only thing she'll talk about is how to keep the judge off of the Supreme Court and how much she hates Trump." No. The CNN show she appears on is pretty good in asking a lot of different questions. So, yeah, had they just let her talk, then she may have done that. Anita, "We're in the world of children, praying for our children around the universe." Jim L, "If they don't give us a stimulus, vote the incumbents out." Amen. And I got to make this very clear to you, is that I don't want to leave this out of the message. If they don't give us money in our hands, vote them out. I don't want to hear on Tuesday that someone says, I wrote a $25 billion bill, and you didn't sign it because, you're, I don't like your hairstyle. It's just too high. I'm tired of that. If you don't give us money, you're out. Very clear message. Louise Johnson, "She's such a brain-dead woman with her own personal agenda." Charlene Masqueda, "We got to keep Nancy's hands off the purse strings." Carolyn Johnson, "Will the American people have a Thanksgiving Day or Christmas?" Celia Garcia, "I'm so tired of the same drama." Tesafo, "It's easy to fool people." Michelle Smith, "I think a lot of people are going to be angry and disappointed come next week." Karen Brewer, "Crazy Nancy needs to be removed from Speaker of the House like now." Brian, 2020, "A lot of people's eyes are all over the world dysfunctional." Dominic, "If they don't get the stimulus checks out, you will see how fast this would have been done." Oh, if they were getting the stimulus checks, you would have seen how fast this would have been done. I want to make one message clear as we sit here at the 18-minute mark. The fact that we are talking about Steve and Nancy does not mean we are getting off message from Purple Power. It does not mean that. It means that we are focusing on what we're doing, but we're certainly aware of their negotiations. Ultimately, we understand that at Purple Power, we want a problem solvers bill, which is at 1.5, but we're willing to go to 2. And anything that pushes pressure on those two negotiators to realize, get out of 2.4, get to 2, and get it done, works. Then we've won. Angela, why haven't they introduced a problem solvers bill yet for negotiation? Really unclear. That's what we're trying to push. Cindy Eds, I will remember this on election day. You better. Janet Wallace, problem solvers, get the checks out now. We need them. Dabata, it would be a lot easier to move her from office. Carolyn, after waiting for $1,200, that's not enough to help the American people. David, it's so funny, but it really is not, that they want to have this a means to send it out, but they still don't. Purple Power is a family forever. Amen. Rachel, I will wait for more. Marlene, everyone's taking their time to help others. Vote them out. Kim, what happened to the people for the people by Mr. President Temple Doom? Dirty, hold Pelosi's pants until she gives us a stimulus check. Amen. Paul, what's coming on Monday is talk, and more talk. Another week, I'm sorry, I'm pissed off right now. You should be. Absolutely should be. If there was ever a day to subscribe to this channel, go to the Funnest channel, subscribe. We're trying to reach 280,000 subscribers. I think we can do it. So let's keep it going. Also, like this video. It's going to be the best video that you're going to watch today. Coming up next is Hazard Pay. As always, stay informed, stay motivated, stay smiling, and stay valid.